record. And we're going to share my screen while she comes back. All right, I think we're all here. Well, if it ever, there we go. Dun, dun, dun. Okay, guys. We're gonna have a fun and easy English summer class today. Y'all ready?
Yes.
I want to hear an enthusiastic yes, or a C, or
It's English class.
I know. Well,
If it's English class, then why are we looking at a tree of every language on earth?
oh, that's a great question. Can you answer it? I bet you know the answer.
No.
Can you answer your own question?
I bet
because
you.
we need to figure out that English is Germanic.
Ah. See, you answered your own question. All right, so today we're going to be talking about some of the oldest words, and particularly for English, right? And our family branch. All right, so here's a fun little picture of the general location we're going to be talking about, like somewhere near the Black Sea, definitely Europe. When we start talking about some of the oldest languages, we think like Sanskrit, you know, like hieroglyphics. What else do you guys think of when you think of like the oldest languages?
Latin. Cave paintings.
Latin. Well, language like words, like the alphabet and stuff.
Oh. I know there's another one I can name, but I forgot what it was called.
Communicating with each other. So those were their form of words, technically.
So
There's Arabic, maybe?
Sure, Arabic, yeah. Mm-hmm.
Old English.
Okay, yeah. Old English, yeah.
Greek.
There's a language in here that says Gothic.
Wow. It's funny you should say that. Let's talk about
African romance.
Yeah, man.
Let's talk about Gothic. Okay, so we're part of the Indo-European family tree. So you kind of saw that map there. This is the kind of the map. We're focusing on Europe as some of the first languages, right? All right, so let's see. On this map, how many languages you think are extinct?
1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6.
I'm estimating around 20.
24, 25, 26, 29, 30, 31, 32, 33.
There's a lot.
36, 37, 38, 39, 40, 41, 42, 43, 44, 45, 46, 47.
Around 40?
Yeah. It's
9.
what original Indo-European languages are still spoken today?
We have
Indian,
Albanian and Armenian. If I said that correctly.
Armenian. Uh-huh.
Wait, where?
Armenian.
There's
Now,
only 2.
yep, only 2. That's right.
About 35.
Which one language did the Spanish, French, Portuguese, Italian, what did that all come from?
Italic. Latin.
Latin. Yeah. Latin. Very good. And Latin and Umbrian and Volscian and all those, they're not even spoken anymore. So we kind of get a subset, right? Is our Spanish language and our French language of all of those. So would you say that the roots of English language are from Latin and Greek?
We have a lot of Latin words.
Yes. Germanic.
Yeah, so I'd say no, right? Now, what Levi pointed out was this chart does not take into consideration all the words we've borrowed from other languages, right?
No.
So
And the
when
English language borrows a lot of words.
that's right. So I would say when we say our English language comes from Germanic, we're mainly meaning like the basic words. So things, think about when you're little, our alphabet, your first words, common things from like farming or think of when you were like 2 or 3 and you were learning words, some of our basic parts of our
Goo
language
goo
are
gaga.
numbers, stuff like that. When you think of numbers and letters, this is what we're talking about. Now, obviously we have borrowed many, many words from many different languages, right? We said that karaoke, right? Well, that's definitely not German, right? Or something. So things like that will come from other places. We'll borrow different words. But when we talk about this, we mean our basic alphabet, our basic sounds are going to be Germanic. Let's see. How about this question? So Afrikaans is a language spoken in South Africa mainly. What language did Afrikaans come from?
We find Afrikaans. Oh, Germanic.
Germanic. So that's usually surprising to people, where South African languages are actually Germanic language. Is there anything in this chart that's surprising to you guys when you look at it?
That there's a language called Ossetic.
Okay.
I've never heard that language before.
Would it be easier for a Swedish person to learn Icelandic or Scots Gaelic?
Icelandic or what?
Scots Gaelic.
Let me find that real quick.
It'd be easier than to
Scots,
Icelandic.
Yes. Does everyone kind of see that there? Let's see if I can.
Nope.
I don't even know who the other one is. I just see that they're in the same
Oh,
thing, then they're easy
yeah.
to learn.
Swedish person, Icelandic is right there. That's right. Anything else that's interesting on this page of kind of where our roots came from? And you guys should have the printout in front of you too, if it's easier to see. What's the direct, like, okay, so we have modern English. It directly came from what?
Middle
Yeah,
Germanic.
directly coming from Middle English and
Oh.
then Old English. And then finally a West Germanic. Yeah, so here's kind of a cool tree picture or family tree, right? And we're noticing which one has the most branches.
Germanic.
Germanic.
Yeah, I would say this one's coming in close second, right?
Yeah.
Slavonic, right? With Bulgarian and Russian and Polish. But English is over here. Dutch, we're going to see a lot of Dutch words are very common in English. And here's some examples. All right, so when we talk about some of the first words, here are some of the first words we're talking about. So remember when I said our language is mainly Germanic form? Well, we're talking about the first words that little kids would say, right? Mother, father, brother, numbers, right? So these are going to be called cognates, and it's whenever you have, the descendant of the proven descendant of a word, it's called a cognate. All right. So some cognates, we're going to say mater. What is that?
Mother.
Yeah. So where did you get mother from that? How did you decipher that?
Because I know Latin.
Yeah, that is true. Okay. So mater So what is happening here? The T becomes a what?
Mother. TH.
Okay. So remember last time when we talked about sounds?
Mhm.
Becomes like a strong stop. That's a stop sound, right? T, t, t. All of a sudden becomes more of a smooth sound, a th, th, th sound. All right. And that's going to happen. We're going to keep seeing more and more words like in Irish, it becomes a TH. Okay. Himalayan, the T becomes a C, makar. Right. Now ours, and then of course, Sanskrit is the T, the original T. The second word on this list here with a P, what's that?
Mud. Pakar.
So if you know the Latin, it would be patar, right?
Oh.
So what would that word be? Like paternal.
Oh, father.
Father. That's right. So this is where paternal comes from. And then our third row here, you can kind of see it in the Irish spelling. What word is that?
Brother.
Yeah. So that would
Mother.
be brother. Right. And then of course, we all know our Spanish, because that's going to look very similar to the Greek, right? And what is that word? Sanskrit.
Mother.
Well, right here,
Oh.
Oh,
three.
that's 3.
3. Right. So again, the T goes to a soft sound of a TH. Okay. And we're really close to Old Irish with the 3F. Okay. So now I want you to guess some words. Now, the hint is these are either going to be animals or body parts. Okay. The first word I'm going to say is extremely hard. But any guess is a great guess, guys. So what word is this?
The Alice or the Holly.
Those are all the same meaning. They all mean the
Oh.
same object.
Hawk.
Okay. Any guesses from everyone? What is that?
Bird. Because
Okay.
it does have a
Owl.
Okay. So this word, and you would think it would be owl or bird or something, right? It is not.
Oh.
This is this word. Who knows this word?
Ew.
Ew. Which is a sheep.
Sheep.
Yeah.
Yes, that's a U. Right? We say it
Huh.
You don't pronounce it you. Yeah, it's you.
It's you. That's right. And that's a sheep. And that's where the word eat sheep comes from. Okay, what's
Huh.
the second one here?
A Holly.
Lupus.
Any guesses? What did you
Oh.
say?
Vulgua.
No guesses?
Vulture.
Okay, vulture. Any other guesses?
Yeah, I'd probably say vulture. Seems to be a lot of V's and U's.
Okay, so sometimes a V is very closely resembling a W. So this
Wolf.
wolf.
Oh my god.
I had the guess of lupus would be canine.
Yeah, that's what
Yeah.
I thought.
Yep. Very good. All right. What about this word?
Cuckoo.
The cuckoo. What's the bird?
Cuckoo bird.
Bird.
You actually have it in the picture right next to
I
it. so-
do. Yes, that was
What is a
Yeah.
cuckoo?
Bird.
A
What is
cuckoo bird. It's a
That's
cuckoo
great.
bird. Yeah.
Oh, I've never heard of a
It's
cuckoo
right there.
before.
Oh.
all right. So these are going to be body parts. What is this body?
Never mind.
Genu.
A jaw.
So I want you guys to remember that Gothic is going to be, that's very Germanic. Okay, so that one is going to be the closest to what the word that you would understand.
Gene. I'm gonna guess Gene.
Okay, we got Gene.
No.
Knee.
Ah,
That sort of looks like knee.
it is. All right. That is
Oh.
where we get the word knee. Okay, so
Wow.
knee actually means between two bones or like a corner. Okay, so this right here is where we get like trigonometry, geometry. This means like between two things, like an angle. So you're studying angles. And that's where you get from the word knee, the Latin form of angle. Okay, this next one, PED, that might be kind of easy.
PED.
A
Foot.
Yes, that's your foot. Now, what words do we know with PED that mean foot?
Pedicure.
Pedicure.
Okay, yeah. If you study the feet, podiatrist, right?
Oh.
All right, so PED,
Ah.
like a pedal, a bike pedal, right? You use your feet.
Oh, yeah.
Okay, so those would be how we get the Latin form. And then the last one here, what's this one? So
Hair.
this is spelled similar to what we would say, but
Hair.
this is going to be the
Hair.
clue. This one right here, the Latin.
Cordy.
Think medical field.
Nervous system? Like cord?
No, I don't think it would be that much. These are body parts, so
Mhm.
Spinal cord.
mm,
We need Miss Jen for this one.
yeah, foot. Where's the leg?
This is from where we get the word cardiology.
Oh, heart.
Yeah. Heart.
I feel like that one that's in Greek would have given us that hint. Or the top one.
Yeah, that's two with the K, cardiology. Yeah. All right, so you're seeing kind of the semblance of how changing in dialect and voice starts changing the actual spelling of the word. Although it means the exact same word, we're starting to say it quite differently depending on where we live. All right, so I want you to look at your sheet of paper and I want you to tell me, everyone should know the Spanish word for one. What is it?
Uno.
Uno.
No.
Okay. What's
Oh,
the
no.
French? And you can actually write these in.
Let me find the page that I need.
So I have,
Similar to
Yeah.
Uno, but it's
So- here's our one, all right?
Un.
Un.
All right, so we have, who wants to read all of the words for one for me?
One. In. Ein. Uno. Un.
Okay, what about two?
Two tweez we, dos and Dwigs.
Do.
Wait.
Do.
Dwigs.
All right,
Sounds like what we get duo from.
we're starting to, hopefully you guys can start to see a pattern. So we have three. Who wants to read
Oh,
three?
here.
Three. Drei. Wait, no. Three. Drei. Tres. Trois. 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 Trois.
yeah.
How about
Mm.
four?
Oh, two are the same thing.
Yeah, which two?
The Dutch and German.
Dutch and German.
And then French and Spanish are pretty similar, right?
Yeah.
Yeah.
English is
I guess English sounds like Dutch and German. Dutch and
Okay, well,
German.
let's look at our chart here. Spanish and French would be similar. And we'd have Dutch and German, right? Being similar. So which two should be very similar to the English language?
Dutch and German.
Dutch and
Yeah.
German.
So are we seeing that
Yeah,
pattern?
because I mean, the way you say it, it sounds for
Yeah, like
somewhat.
even look
Yeah.
at two here, right? Very close to English. 4 is actually very close because when you sound a V, it's kind of F-y, right? Like v, f. It's very close, right? In sound. Same with the V's go to F's here, right?
And then 12, sort of.
That's right. It's very similar. And then you notice the Spanish and French is very similar in the language, right?
Mhm.
What about the colors? What do we see patterns with colors? We see the same thing, different?
For white, it's blue, which is kind of like white in English.
Right?
And then there's blanco and blanc in French and Spanish.
The only difference in that is there's no O for French.
Mm-hmm. That's right. Are we noticing that with most of the other colors? What about blue?
Yep.
That
Blue,
one's different, huh?
As
blau, blue, azul, and blue. I mean, blau and blue are kind of the same with the German and French.
Azul and bleu aren't
Bleu.
that.
Yep. All right, so let's talk about the please and thank you and yes and no. What are we seeing similarities there? So our polite words. Can anybody say the Dutch one?
What?
Oh,
Lord.
Alsjeblieft.
Okay. Who knows please in French?
Please in
Veel
French.
alsjeblieft.
Somebody
Oh,
knows.
it sounds similar.
Who knows? Yeah, it does. So who knows how to say please in French?
Veel alsjeblieft.
S'il vous plaît.
Literally just- Yeah.
S'il vous plaît.
Oh, I'm
Oh,
about to say, Caleb, you
s'il
gotta
vous plaît.
know.
S'il vous plaît.
That's right. Yeah.
And then thank you is mercy.
That's
Oh,
right.
thank you and thank you.
Merci.
Mm-hmm. And oui, right? And non. Now, what is it similar to here in the polite words? We have our Dutch.
Thank you. Thank you.
Oh, no is similar for what was it?
Spanish. Look,
That's
Oh,
Spanish.
Spanish and French are like the exact.
Spanish.
Spanish and French for no is
No, they're like the exact same.
Yes.
That's right. Here's our German, right? And the German, this is pretty close. No's pretty it's
Pretty-
not very
pretty
easy.
close.
Common.
Yep, 9.
draw.
Technically, no
ja.
in Spanish can be
Yeah,
no or
Those are similar.
Yeah. This to me sounds like yeah.
Oh, and then thank you. Thank you.
Thank you.
No.
That's right.
That
Thank
just
you.
CH.
That just sounds so interesting.
Yep. So hopefully your mom printed these out. So you'll have a whole list of them and you can kind of go through and see where our words are very similar to these other languages. And these are some basic ones where if you know them, you can kind of get around a little bit, right?
kind of basic words.
This one's kind of cool. Friendly. I have no idea how to say that in Dutch.
Rendazi.
But the German is very close. And this reminds me of the word amicable, right? Means you agree, you're friendly with each other. You come to an amicable conclusion, right? So you can start to see some of our words spinning from Spanish and French as well. Like rapid, rapido. Yeah, rapido, rapid, right? Do something fast.
Yep.
Any other
Rapido.
words you guys know?
Danke. Merci.
Oui, gracias, por favor. Sí, nuevo. Never heard of hablich before.
Foot is pie.
I know.
What?
Yeah, so that's gonna be your PED, right? For
Pie.
foot, head, right?
Head.
That's another
Looks
version
like
for foot.
pie.
Yeah, it does. Yeah. But this is Spanish, so the I's are E's and the E's are I's.
Oh, then finger is extremely similar to English for
Yeah. Well, this is like dexterity, like who knows?
well, not in
the-
Spanish, the one next to it.
Oh, finger. Yeah, that is our finger. So that's our German. So basically you can say the word finger is Germanic.
The same as hand too.
Same, yeah, same with hand. That's right.
Oh, and in
Oh, and then
But-
there's Groot.
Round and for big.
And then we got
Arrow.
then we got the car company.
Hers.
Yeah.
Yeah, I saw that, but then there's not a T, so I said,
Go
oh,
places.
Well, apparently it's
Hurts.
Germanic, then it means heart.
yeah. Actually, it doesn't have a T before the Z though.
Yeah, I think it does.
The
And
company.
then Grande for both French and Spanish.
Mm-hmm.
I
This
feel like
one, Dutch for foot, I can definitely hear it when I say voet. I hear it sounds like foot.
yeah.
Like this one, like vinegar, but it's like vinegar with the V and the F sound again, changing. It's pretty cool. So
And
the
then
the reason for this is kind of looking at the map here. So the reason why we say the Germanic language, sort of like Latin, is a dead language, is up here is kind of where we're going to find a lot of the German tribes. Okay, a lot of them were called battle axe tribes. I kind of put that on there thinking it's might be easier to remember, but basically when someone died, they put a battle axe
Oh, wow.
in their grave, which is actually kind of how we know how they migrated, right? This is where archaeology comes into play. We know if Germanic tribes traveled south, if you start seeing battle axes in graves, right? And different type of Germanic, like helmets, they were illiterate. So the problem is they haven't written anything down. So we don't know how they actually spoke because they didn't write any words. The first words they wrote, and here are the Romans down here, they were definitely literate, right? So when they start coming down, they're mixing with the Celtic and the Roman, and we're starting to see some helmets from the Germanic tribes with some writing on them. So now our first German type writing was on war helmets. Okay. And it was a kind of a mixture. So we had a lot of people that were trying to figure out how the Germanic tribes actually spoke, and somebody did it. Old Jacob Grimm. Does that name sound familiar? Does anybody know the word Grimm?
Dark,
Uh,
tail dark and grim.
I just think of
Oh.
the Grimm's brothers when I hear that.
That's exactly who we're talking about. Yes. Okay, so
Oh, lovely.
Grimm, okay, is one of the Grimm's brothers, and this law,
Never.
he actually brought back the Germanic language through fairy tales. Now, he figured out how they spoke, and this is called the Grimm's Law. Okay, so I want everybody we're doing a sound thing again this time. Okay, so we're going to do voiced stops. That means when you put your hand on your vocal cords, they vibrate, right? So everyone do a B.
B.
Well, buh,
B.
the phonetics.
B. B. Buh.
All right, so you feel your vocal cords. Ba, duh, guh. Can everybody do that? Ba, duh, guh.
Buh.
Buh.
Okay, so you should feel your vocal cords vibrate. Those are voice stops. In order for you to say that language, that sound, you have to make your vocal cords stop vibrating. Okay, so this was hard work. And the Germanic tribes said, I'm going to stop using our vocal cords so much when we start. Thank you, buddy. When we start making sounds. So now I want everyone to do a ba without it being voiced. And it's going to sound like a P. You can say ba.
Buh. Buh.
It's the same
Ba.
mouth movement, but one is voiced and one is not voiced. Ba is voiced,
Buh.
is just moving the air. Okay, and so that's how B became a P. Now we're going to do the same thing with the letter D. So we have duh, and now I just want to move air. T. So duh, t. It's the same movement without moving your vocal cords.
So it's basically just whispering the letters.
Pretty much, yes. And now we have a G. We have G and K. That one is very prevalent. Everyone should try the G to a K and see the difference. Right. So it's just so a K is just a G without it being voiced. Okay. You're just moving air with a K. Now they even became lazier. Okay. And said, we don't like the stops. Okay. So P is moving air and stopping it really quickly. P, T, K. Okay. So they wanted a more smooth sounding word. So if you take a P, which is a voiceless stop, and you don't stop it, you have a P. And you say that a lot of times it becomes very F-like. So P's then started to become F's and long F's. T's became a TH and K's became H's. So it got breathier as we kept moving farther and farther away. Okay. We're going to see this very prevalently between Latin and Greek and Gothic. Gothic is part of the Germanic one. Okay. So the first one is Potter. Okay. There's our T. What does T become, guys, in Grimm's Law?
TH.
Where does a P become?
An F.
And that's where we get the word.
Putter.
P becomes an F. T
Oh,
becomes
father. Oh, father.
father. Potter becomes father. All right. In the word three, okay, we have trace. Right? Tray, right? And there's our T to a TH. E. Okay. And then a really, really good one is the centum, which is Latin, uses the K sound for the C. Okay. So the like century like means 100, right? 100 years.
Mhm.
So cent, right? 100. So centum, the K becomes an H. So we have what?
Yeah.
So the K would then become hund. Okay. And eventually it's
Oh,
like
honey, I'm home.
so this is where we get the word 100. It's actually from centum, the Latin word centum. Okay. And it kind of went and went and went. This is Grimm's Law. So some cool examples are the word door. Okay. This is where a D eventually shifts to an F sound. Okay. And the D was deforest, which then
The
became-
forest.
Yep. Which then became forest. So the word forest comes from the word door. Now, in Latin, this just means out of doors. And we call that outside. Okay. So you're
I don't
just
wanna go in
basic
that door.
outside just means outside of your front door. Okay. This is where we get forest because you're outside of the door. This is where we get foreclose to shut the door, and foreign, like you're outside of the country's boundaries. You're foreign.
Oh,
Okay. And this all stems from the word door. Who knows that last word there? Who can say that in French?
hors
they
d'oeuvre. That's
vote-
like a,
yeah.
like a type of food, right?
That's
Hors
right.
d'oeuvre.
Isn't it?
Hors d'oeuvre
That's hors
also
d'oeuvre.
comes from the word door, and it just means out of the ordinary, out of outside of the work. Okay. So you're thinking anything outside of the house. Another cool word in German is garden. Okay. This is where the G actually became more of a Y sound. So instead of guard, we get
Yard.
yard. Yeah. This is where we get the word kindergarten, but we said we don't say it with a D, we have it with a T. This is where the D becomes a T. Okay, so kindergarten
oh,
just means the child's garden. Okay,
oh.
but in Latin, we take the Germanic word garden and the G becomes an H for hortus, like in
Horn in the O.
horticulture.
Oh.
But
was
you know,
close.
Horton would be, yeah, that means they were out in the forest, weren't they, in the woods? All right, so this is where G becomes H sounds. Here's a good word, guest. Okay, guest is from the word ghosty. Okay, ghosty means stranger. Okay, that's guest. That makes sense, right? A stranger is a guest. Well, host is what the word guest went into. So technically, a host and a guest is the exact same thing. They're both strangers. But this
You're a
is
guest of your
get-
own.
this is where we get host goes to hotel and hospital.
Huh.
And those just mean a room for strangers. Okay. Or a stranger's house is a hospital. Okay. So a host is a group of strangers. Interesting. All right. So here is our lovely Brothers Grimm. And here's the original book. So he basically resurrected this dead Germanic language. And since they were illiterate, we only got stories, and he was able to write down all of these stories. Who's ever heard of Hansel and Gretel?
Me.
That was them, yeah.
Sleeping Beauty,
Me.
Yep.
Rapunzel,
Yep.
Yep.
Rumpelstiltskin,
Yep.
Yep.
Snow White,
Yep.
Yep.
Little Red Riding Hood, Frog Prince,
Yep.
Cinderella,
Yep.
Goldilocks.
Mhm. True
Yeah.
that.
The list goes on, guys. Most of the children's stories are from a dead Germanic language that the Brothers Grimm had written down, figured out how to actually write them down and what they meant. So he actually brought back the Germanic language. And that's sort of what we're going to do today. So fun things about what he wrote down. Has anyone ever read the Brothers Grimm stories before?
No.
No. Okay, so like a good example is Goldilocks and the Three Bears.
Oh, that's a Grimm story. Okay.
Goldilocks is an old woman. Okay.
That's not right.
Okay.
And the Frog Prince, how does the frog turn into a prince?
By kissing it.
Wrong.
No, that's actually, yeah, I read that real Frog Pit story before. And
She
the real
has-
Hansel and Gretel.
The real story is she has to throw it against the wall.
Yeah, it was very
Oh.
lovely.
Right. So what we're gonna do today is you have two choices.
Create dark meanings.
Yes. So these are the original
Oh, Lord.
stories. If you have the copies of them,
Rapunzel has to
we're
shave
gonna
her
do
head
two
off.
stories. Who knows what the first story we're gonna do? Like, what's this right here?
Rapunzel.
Okay. So that's Rapunzel with an it's German,
Excuse me.
right? And then what is this one?
Sneeuwwitchkin.
Rumpelstiltskin.
How about Snow
Snow White.
White?
Oh.
Snow Whiten.
Those are a lot of dwarves.
Yeah. See the dwarves right here, right? Okay. So what's
There's
your
also a dragon.
there's
apparently.
yeah. So I have copied the original stories. Snow White is about twice as long as Rapunzel. So you can kind of pick which one. But you're going to draw or write an outline after you're going to read it together in your groups. Shouldn't take long. And I just want you to write down the story, but you have to highlight the parts that are not part of the Disney version. And we'll do that
Oh.
next, right? Okay, so I know Snow White and I know Rapunzel. I want to know the actual story. Okay, so you guys can draw, write an outline, however you want to depict this, but we want it like a 5-minute short story, you know? And I want you to make sure you write down all of the differences between the real story and the Disney one. Okay, and you'll do that as a group. Does that sound fun?
Yeah.
Yep.
Okay, cool. All right, let's see. I'm going to stop share here. I'm going to do 2 breakout rooms. One is the
I'm
Snow
not
White
good
room.
at short stories. I have to
I
describe
am.
every little
Good
detail
thing
of
you're gonna
what's
be
happening.
partnered with me.
Snow White room, and then one. Now that I must admit, if you Rapunzel.
Let down your hair.
That's right. Now, depending on which one you want to go to, Snow White is longer, so you need to be a fast reader. Okay. It's about as
I'm a
twice as
fast
long as
reader.
Rapunzel. Probably the same amount of extras and differences in both of them, but one story is a little longer, so you kind of have to be fast reader. So who wants to be in Snow White?
I'll be in Snow White.
All right.
Me. Yeah, I'm raising a
Emma.
hand.
You're just following me.
Actually, I did say I put my hand first before I said anything.
Oh.
Okay, then I'm gonna put the other.
I
two
like
girls
longer
in the other group.
stories.
Okay, so I'm putting the Levi and then Caleb and okay, yes, Desiree and them. Do you want to be in Rapunzel or Snow White?
You can be in.
I have you in Rapunzel, but I can move you guys.
You can do Snow White.
The longer one.
I don't care.
Which one are you more familiar with?
Either.
I'm more familiar with Rapunzel.
Okay, and then Caleb, do you want to do Snow White or Rapunzel?
I'll say Rapunzel.
Okay, cool. So if you guys want to change, just let me know. But right now it's like 3 and 4. So it's kind of an uneven anyways. So I'll open up the green. So when we come back, you guys are going to tell your little 5-minute story or a little synopsis. And you're going to tell it in a way that highlights all the things that are different about the original story versus the Disney story. Everyone understand?
Mm-hmm.
Okay.
So Miss Tara,
Every screech
I
screenshot.
Miss Tara, I saved that thing, and as soon as I saved it, I heard the thing meaning I left the thing. You were so
Wow.
lucky. We're so lucky.
Timing.
Oh, okay. Barely.
I have 2 pages of work to show.
Oh,
Yeah.
Only 2 pages. We got like 6.
good.
Y'all have a
Well, I
longer
think-
story.
Yeah, you did you had twice as long of a story, and I think you guys have pictures, huh?
Yeah. we did.
Yeah. Okay, who wants to tell the
I want to see the
story?
Rapunzel ones first.
Okay.
Yeah. Rapunzel, Rapunzel, let down
I
your
feel like I
hair.
always go
No.
first now.
I
Hey.
don't want to let down my hair.
All right, let's hear
No,
the
Rapunzel,
real
Rapunzel, eat
story.
your own hair.
The real story of
What?
Rapunzel. Yeah, you
Okay.
should be able to share your screen.
So we've
Uh,
found a lot of differences.
Oh, we found a lot of differences in our too.
Awesome. Okay.
Oh,
I
do I?
can't wait
Do
to
I?
hear it.
There were so many deaths, you can't even count them.
Uh,
Yeah.
I laughed during the story because she just like kept dying. I was like, when does this woman live?
Here's the first page.
Okay, so what is the story of Rapunzel?
Okay. Do you want me to read it word for word?
No, I want you to summarize it using the things that are different.
Okay. So as soon as you start reading, it says a man and his wife, meaning they're not the king and queen.
Okay.
They're just
All right.
regular townspeople.
Okay.
The
No
witch
magic flower.
garden inside the story. In the movie, there was no garden.
Oh,
And then she
what
was
garden?
witch in the story, whereas in the movie, they didn't give her the title witch.
Oh,
The wife of the man was greedy for wanting ramtons, if I'm saying that correctly, which we
Rampion.
found that it's a flower of some sort.
The
Oh.
rampion.
No magic flower, that's all I see.
There is no magic flower at all.
Oh,
It's a regular.
It's a regular plant. It's not one of a kind. The man promises his wife that if he he says, I will get this Rampton at any cost. That's your first hint to the strangeness of the story.
oh,
So so there was a wall around this garden, which there was no garden at all in the movie. So he climbs over this wall, grabs some Rampton, only a handful though. And the wife immediately made a salad out of it, but craved it 3 times as much as before. She was being greedy with it.
oh.
And so he climbed the wall again, and he faced the witch. And she was mad and didn't back down in the story. In the movie, she had to back down because there were armies around her one magical flower.
Oh.
And for the Rampton, she demands a high price. Their only child. So instead of wandering into the palace and taking the child, it's a bargain instead.
Oh,
Rapunzel
she gave
is
it
given
away.
Okay,
Wow.
let me see what else we got. So she named Rapunzel after the Rampton. And she brought her to a tower and raised her there with no steps or door. So there was no hidden passage like the movie had. Nothing like that. And then, of course, you have the Rapunzel, let down your hair.
Mm-hmm.
That is similar, of course. But instead of a thief finding her, the king's son finds her.
Oh.
So she's not royalty in this one at all. The prince is royalty. And instead of painting a lot, like in the movie, she sings.
Because there's nothing for her to do. There's nothing in her tower. Except, of course, food and water.
Yeah. Oh, and she did not have her chameleon companion, whatever the
Oh.
It's a chameleon. It's a lizard.
lizard thing.
No, it's a chameleon.
It's a chameleon, but I don't know the name of it.
Pascal.
Oh, that's right.
That's right. I know my Disney princesses.
I know my Disney princesses.
Okay, so the king's son wanted to find a door into the tower because he wanted to hear her singing some more. But there was no door because that's not how it was built. But the song had entered his heart, so he had fallen in love with her based on her song.
Oh.
So instead of immediately attempting to climb the tower to get away from guards, he instead goes back to the palace. So another difference. And then once while he was standing underneath the tree, there was no tree in the movie. He heard Gothel say, "Oh, Rapunzel, Rapunzel, let down your hair."
Which, by the way, Gothel is the name of the witch.
Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah, in the movie they said Mother
Well, in
Gothel.
the story, her name's Gothel as well, so they got that right. Let's see. So, since he couldn't get up any other way, he tricked her into letting her up with her hair.
Oh.
And when she let down her hair and he climbed up, she became scared. She did not use a frying pan, unfortunately, or
Oh.
tie him up, or anything like that. Unfortunately, I would have loved to see that. Let me see.
There was no crown.
There was no tiara for him
Oh.
to bargain with for her to see the palace. But the prince started speaking kindly to her, and she was just really pleased with it. She began
Fell
liking
fast and hard.
And when he asked her to take her as to let him take her as a wife, she almost immediately agreed.
Oh wow.
For this person she
fell
had
hard,
barely
yes.
met, whereas in the movie that did not happen. But in the movie, he doesn't bring her any rope for her to make a ladder for them to escape. She instead asked him for every time he comes in the evenings for him to bring some rope and she'll make a ladder. That she never made a ladder in the movie. And then Rapunzel did not have to tell Gothel anything in the movie because she was already gone. Whereas in this one, she literally says, in summary, she says, "Gothel, why do you take so long?" And yanking my hair, but the prince comes up in an instant. So she gets irritated with her pulling on her hair.
Oh.
For just getting up. Then the witch feels betrayed, cuts her hair, which didn't have any magical properties to start with, and stays golden instead of turning brown.
Oh.
So that's another difference. Then she banished her to a desert, which was not in the movie.
Huh.
And then she tricks the prince into heading up there. And then the prince, being a coward apparently, jumps off the tower into thorns, somehow
his legs.
lives, and lost his eyes.
Huh?
We know why this isn't in
This
Disney,
ain't the
guys.
Rapunzel we all know and love.
We know why Disney didn't want a coward as one of the main characters.
So Thorn.
Here comes the
No, they
sun.
didn't. They didn't want to depict someone losing their eyes in a cartoon for children.
I mean, they
Yeah.
did that for Lost in the Woods.
And then he wandered blind for many years. In Rapunzel, it did not take him years to
Took him a couple seconds.
in the actual movie, he was dying of a chest wound. If I'm correct.
Oh, because she stabbed him. That's right. I
Yeah,
think. Yeah.
he wasn't blind. But after those several years, he finally found her, and she had kids. There were no kids in the movie.
What?
Yeah, twins, a boy and a girl.
How did she have children?
How?
We don't know. So Rapunzel he approached Rapunzel without knowing it, began crying on him, and his sight returned.
Because
Because of her tears. But instead of it being a chest wound, it's actually his eyes.
The magical tears.
Another very important thing, there are only 3 main characters instead of all the random main characters that they put for the
there
actual
was
movie.
no main character horse.
There was no main character horse. He's only mentioned once, and there's no name.
Oh,
He
I don't
gets-
even remember the name in the movie. So
Me either.
Yeah.
You need Disney princesses.
well, the horse isn't a Disney princess, is it?
No,
Wait, there's no princess.
tell that.
Well, that
And-
sounds like a very bleak story.
We have another page after this one.
Oh my goodness.
Oh.
Yeah.
Yeah,
there's-
there's pages.
we have 2.
Levi, do
We
you
just
have that
couldn't figure
one?
out where to fit the other
So-
stuff.
Oh,
Go
okay.
ahead for it.
You like read all of them and then go to the next page, or do you want to go to the next page?
You can go to the next page.
Okay.
Then the witch promised that she would care for Rapunzel like a mother, when in reality she just kept her trapped.
That's right, because she got her fair and square, right? It was a bargain.
Yep.
It was a bargain, yeah. So she cared for her, but she just used her as a ladder.
Wait,
I
what's
got
happening?
Like,
Wow, you guys have a lot of changes.
Oh no, that's the same page.
Oh,
yeah.
No,
Oh, I'm sorry. This
Oh.
good change.
okay,
Yeah.
there you go. And I guess she had to go down, I guess.
Oh,
a
and then
rope,
she
right?
fell in the movie, but in the story nothing really happened to her after the prince jumped off the tower. So she's still alive in the story.
Oh.
Here.
So nothing happened to the witch in the real story.
Nothing happened to her.
Okay.
She just accepted fate.
Yeah.
Awesome. So which story do you guys like better? The real story or the Disney story?
I love
I think the
the
Disney,
Disney
horse is
story.
actually a character.
A
Yeah,
little bit better.
I think that was the main reason why I actually watched the movie.
But only because of the horse. Otherwise, it doesn't really matter to me.
Yeah.
Wow, you guys found a lot of differences. Good job. I like your Rapunzel story.
All right, let's hear about this.
Y'all
main
ain't ready for ours.
All right, now we get to hear.
Do you
the
want to
real-
explain it, Emma?
white
or do you want me to?
Let's see
I'll
this
explain.
depressing story. Based on-
All right. Photos. Okay, photos. All right. So,
Wait, hold on. I don't think it's screenshotting. Levi, you might have to unscreen share or something.
oh no, it's okay. I can like
Okay.
overlay screen shares.
Oh, you can.
There you go.
So, welcome to our comic book. So, in short, this is Snow White. the queen had a baby, and the first difference in the story is that the queen, before she had Snow White, was sewing, and she pricked her finger on a needle. Sound familiar?
Yeah.
And with the blood, like 3 blood drops dripped off on the floor, and she looked at the blood and she said, I want to have a child that is as white as snow, because she was doing this while it was snowing. She said she wanted a child as white as snow, as red as blood, and as dark as the ebony on her needle. So she had a child, and she was pretty pretty, but she died. And a new queen came around and married the king, and Snow White was apparently very pretty at 7. That's what the story said. And the queen,
Prettiest on earth, yeah.
yeah, the queen,
Yes,
Okay,
ma'am.
so she was
That's
7 years old. Snow White was 7
yes,
years old. Okay.
yes. And the queen got jealous because she went to her looking glass, and the looking glass said she wasn't the fairest of them all anymore. So, she got a little jealous.
That's in the second slide.
Well, yeah, I put obvious jealousy noises in the first slide though. So let me get the second slide here. She looks in the looking glass and she sends a huntsman to get Snow White and put her in the forest.
Oh, not only that too, also, take out her heart.
Oh
carved so the
yeah,
queen
she
can
wants
eat
her
it.
heart as
Yeah.
well.
The queen wanted to eat it, by the way, people.
Ew.
So
Yeah.
Disney couldn't include that. So that's another difference. But as the huntsman gives mercy on her, she runs into the forest and she finds the dwarves' house. And let me
Yes, it's a mushroom house, people.
yes. So she gets in the house, she finds all of these things, and she decides, because she's tired and hungry, she decides to eat all their food and sleep in their beds. And in the next frame, you can see these little circles, people. We didn't have much time, so I just made them orbs as dwarves. And once she wakes up, she sees all of them. Like, what are you doing in my house? The dwarves are like, this is our house. You gotta get a. But since she's very pretty, they let her stay in the house. And meanwhile, the queen in her castle, she goes to the looking glass thinking she's dead because the huntsman killed a bear, gave her the heart of the bear, and she ate that. So she thought Snow White was dead. So she went into the looking glass and she said, "Am I the fairest yet?" She's like, and the mirror's like, "Nope." So she got angry, and she disguised herself as a cellar lady, and she went to the dwarves' house, as you will see in the next photo here. She went to the dwarves' house. She sells some laces to Snow White, and she dresses up Snow White for her, but she does it so fast that
So
Snow White
tight,
just
no.
passes out from excitement or something like that.
No, that's not what it is. It was she tightened the lace so much that it suffocated.
Yeah, she took her breath away.
Deadly.
As stated in the story. So she passes out, and the gnomes find her. She's like, "All right, I won't open the door anymore." It's like, "You can't open the door for strangers. What are you doing?"
Wait a second. How'd she live if she was dead from the laces and suffocation?
Because they
found
undid
her.
the lace.
They undid the lace.
Oh, okay, gotcha.
So they found
We
her
didn't
just
include that frame since this is a short story.
Yes.
But the queen goes back to her castle. She asks him once again, "Am I the fairest now?" And the glass is like, let me check. Survey says no." And the queen decides to go back, disguise herself again, and now she's she decides to comb her hair, but the comb is like infused with poison. And in the next one, she just combs her hair and the poison works on her head. She's dead again. The dwarves find her again. And she's like, why you open it? Why you open it again? She's like, sorry.
Wait,
won't
how
open
did
again.
she survive this one?
They took the comb
Because
out
the
of her
gnomes
head.
found her again and they just pulled it out of her head.
Emma, you have to include that when you're telling the story.
I'm sorry. My voice is still getting like used to the
I
fast
have a
talking.
question before you move on. Did the dwarfs have names like in the movie?
No,
They
actually.
never spoke of their names. They never
Okay.
spoke of their names. So now she goes back again, asks the mirror, am I the fairest now? And she's like, sorry to burst your bubble, but no. So she's like, she's really angry now. So she decides to dress up as a peasant. They specified that. And she goes back to the house and she decides to sell her an apple. But she's like, no, I don't trust you. So she splits the apple in half. It's like, okay, this isn't poison if you don't trust me, but there's a good side and a bad side to the apple, and she eats the good side so she doesn't get poisoned. And she gives her the bad side. Think you know where this is going, huh?
Yeah.
Yep.
So, she dies again, but she's gone for good. The first frame contradicts otherwise. The dwarves were actually very sad, but I added some humor to this. They mourned her for, I think, like 3 days. The story said they mourned her for 3 days, and then a prince came along.
That's a terrible drawing of a horse.
No, it's Picasso, like I said. And the prince obviously finds her very pretty. What we want to know is why he's taking home a 7-year-old as her bride, because he wants her as her bride. Wow.
Yes, ma'am.
He wants her as her bride, but it's a dead 7-year-old.
That's what the story said.
Okay.
Like, you gotta
Lola
take her-
just left.
Oh well, no.
All right, Miss Sarah, we have to go now.
Okay.
Oh, okay.
We're the only
Bye,
ones.
guys. You
Bye.
can continue, Emma. You have to finish it up.
Okay.
It's at the
So
end.
the prince wants to take her home. She's like, I can't not look at her. And he takes her home, and since the road was like so bumpy, she chokes up the apple half again, and she's alive because the poison apparently just vaporized inside of her.
Well, the apple dislodged from her throat, right?
Yes.
Okay.
And if it would let me stop sharing. I think it's lagging.
We lost Emma. We lost everyone.
Pretty much.
Yes. It's just me and you, Lexi. Oh, and Desiree.
Not in the front.
Everyone's dropping out.
It's only 4 of us left. Maybe if Emma comes back.
Yeah, she's gonna come back. Here, I'm
Oh.
going to do let's see. That to see if we can get her back here. She's frozen on the screen.
Emma, if you can hear us, you're frozen.
You might want to check your internet.
I hear her. I hear her. She's talking.
Oh.
She's complaining. Okay, you can do it now. You're off of the frozen thing. You can rejoin. I'm gonna pause. Okay. You're back.
Continuing what I said.
So what happened after so she's saved?
They get married
Uh-huh.
to a 7-year-old,
Yeah.
but they decide to punish the queen because somehow they knew she did it. Didn't tell us how they knew, but they prepared a little special surprise for her. The queen gets some red hot shoes, and she got to dance till she's dead. And that's how the story ended. Good night, sweet dreams.
Oh,
So she dies
Happy
by
ending.
red hot iron shoes she has to dance with.
Mm-hmm.
Okay. Was that in the original story?
That was in the original story.
All right. So which one do we like better, the original or the Disney?
I just laugh at the original, honestly.
but which one would you put on TV on Disney? with
Oh,
kids watching.
the original Snow White, obviously. We gotta keep this PG, folks.
They do have a movie called The Huntsman,
Oh,
and it's a story. It's the Snow White story.
but it's like the original thing.
It has pieces of the original. It's the Huntsman's version of trying to kill Snow White.
It's a
Yeah,
huntsman's perspective
that's right.
of the story.
Look at. Oh, hi, kitty cat. I guess we're done. Most people have left. We spent most of the time making our stories. Y'all did great.
Only one's left.
I know.
Do you like my storytelling? Do you like my overpowering voice because I can't control myself?